so weird with freckle line. I'm like, I don't even know what. Hello. Welcome to today's live. I still have to upload the other one. Oh, look at my bow. I was like, went all the way. I don't know how. Went all the way over there. Hi everyone. So there's two topics I wanted to talk about today. With manifesting your specific person. And then I'll also be answering any questions in the comments too. How's everyone's Friday? Happy Friday, everyone. Any success stories that you'd like to share? Yeah, the last live was interesting since we had manifested that mosquito that was in my room. And it just kept, buzzing in, being irritating. And then I mentioned how before I had been complaining about mosquitoes, so I definitely manifested that. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about how people are reflecting your assumptions either about you and or them, as well as when you're reprogramming your subconscious mind, but your specific person is maybe they're not showing up as the new version at all. And you're thinking like, oh my gosh, like, well, that person got their specific person to conform really quickly. So what's going on? Okay, and then the third topic is anxiety when manifesting your specific person. Okay. So I had a question from someone I was coaching, and they were asking, so if I attract someone who's very negative or very selfish, for example, does that mean that I'm selfish or negative? Like, what is up with that? If you were to manifest someone who's narcissistic or a cheater, it's like, what is that saying about me? If you're saying everyone is you pushed out, people are reflecting your dominant assumptions. No. So if you have a core belief in your subconscious that, for example, you're not good enough, that can manifest as someone treating you poorly in your reality, as someone not choosing you, not prioritizing you. And because then that confirms the limiting belief that you have about yourself, that, oh, I'm not good enough. And on top of that, if you have an assumption about others that like, oh, people treat you like trash, like, oh my gosh, no matter what I do, no matter how nice I am, people always end up stabbing me in the back, right? That happens to some people sometimes, where they're like, oh my gosh, like, my friends always end up betraying me. They have that belief. So you might have assumptions about yourself like, I'm an honest, good person, but when it comes to like the people I attract, for whatever reason, I just attract people who disrespect me, betray me. That assumption itself can also manifest. So I just want you to know that it's not because you deserve it. It's not because you did anything wrong. It's not like you're cursed or anything, or that it's your karma. No, you don't deserve that treatment, and you don't need that treatment in your life. And like, that can manifest from multiple limiting beliefs, like not being good enough, not feeling safe to trust people. So, for example, if in early childhood you were taught, like, oh, I cannot rely on others to be there for me, then that's how that can manifest in that situation. So, I hope that helps explain, like, it's not because they're reflecting you because you're a bad person, they're just reflecting your subconscious assumptions. So, okay, so that's a little bit on how people reflect your self concept. So let's say, okay, how do I change that then if that's been my entire reality up until now? Here is where the fun part comes in, right? You can pick the manifesting technique of your choice, whether that is affirmations. You can record affirmations and listen to them. I do that personally. That's been like super helpful. Especially when doing a mindless activity like washing dishes or going for a walk, and you could just like listen to that, reprogram your subconscious, because you can do that through either a repetition alone and or attaching any sort of feeling to it, whether that's a positive or a negative feeling. It doesn't have to be, oh, I have to feel super excited about this affirmation. No, just feel it as if it's true for you, because the assumptions that you have when you say those in a way that feels natural and neutral. And that happens to some people when they're affirming, at first it might feel kind of uncomfortable if you're affirming, I am always loved and respected by others. But you're like, no, you haven't, like, ever. And you have that kind of ongoing battle in your mind. But it's a matter of persisting and reprogramming your subconscious mind to have that assumption so that it reflects in your 3D. And then that's when the 3D changes, is when you continue to persist in that assumption. And I do want to say, when you are doing your manifesting technique, okay, we're back. Okay. So, when you are doing your manifestation technique, sometimes what happens is you get into the period of waiting, right? Or not seeing any movement. So, sometimes when people affirm, they're doing it as if it's like, okay, like, say these 3 magic words and then things are going to change out there. So they're saying the affirmation, saying the words without really attaching much meaning to them. And they're like, okay, like, where is it? Like, when is this going to start showing up for me? So that's separating yourself from the manifestation, and that's coming from a state of, I don't have this thing, I'm doing this to try to get something because I don't have that. And that's when that does not work, right? And that could also lead to exhaustion if you're like, I'm saying 100 affirmations, and yet nothing is going on. So again, it's not like you say these 10 magic phrases and then suddenly everything changes. What you are doing is changing your state and doing whatever manifesting technique is effective for you to start assuming that this is who you are, regardless of what's happening out there. So not being dependent on the evidence that's showing up in front of you, because then that's giving your power away to things that have already manifested. That's old news. So why are you looking to what's going on in front of you to say who you are? That's just affirming whatever your current self-concept is and whatever assumptions that you have. So once you step into the new version of you who thinks and assumes different things, then that's how you get things to change out there. And some people will receive that change in their outer reality without any evidence. So sometimes I see videos that are like, oh, if you're seeing this, this is a sign, blah blah blah. I've been wanting to post one that says, this is your sign that you don't need a sign. There is always movement happening. If you're saying your affirmations, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind. And it's just going to take as long as it takes, and your job is to think as if what you are affirming is true for you. That's living in the state of the wish fulfilled. So the wish fulfilled is basically, think of the wish as what you are wanting to manifest, and the fulfilled part is like, this is true for you. So for example, you're in a relationship with your specific person. You can assume that even if they're not in the same room as you, right? Like if you're in a relationship with someone, it's not like they need to be right in front of you for you to believe that, right? So you don't need that evidence all the time. That's an assumption you have, even if they're, I don't know, in the kitchen, right? So, and also at the beginning stages of when you first met your specific person, you are starting to form assumptions based on your self-concept. So for example, if your self-concept at the time was that relationships never work out for me, what if I mess this up? Are they talking to people? Like, are they following other people? Those assumptions were formed without any evidence, right? That's just based off your old self-concept. You don't know that. You're just making those negative assumptions, and then what happens is people manifest their SP leaving, or they manifest a third party, right? If they're very hyper focused on what is that person doing, who are they talking to, do they want me, like, am I their type? So that's living in the state of not being in a secure, committed relationship, and that can manifest as the breakup, as hot and cold behavior, basically just anything that's not having what you want. So remember, it's not the techniques themselves that manifest. It's not like scripting is more powerful than visualizing. Scripting will only be more powerful than visualizing if that helps you to get in the state of the wish fulfilled, also known as imagining that this is true for you in this present moment, knowing that your inner reality is what creates. So if you dwell in that state where you're imagining, what would I think and feel if this were true for me right now? Okay, I would think that actually my relationships do work out. I am in a healthy, loving relationship right now. I'm together with my specific person, and I don't feel the need to check their social media. I don't feel the need to say, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, call me. Like, why aren't you calling me? Why aren't you doing this and that? No, because I naturally assume that I have what I want, the relationship. And you don't have as much of that resistance, as much of that need to try and make something happen, because you already have it. You already have it. So the goal here is to assume that you have what you desire, that it is true for you, that this is an experience that you have. This is an expectation you've set up for yourself. And you can do this without any evidence out there. There are people who have manifested their specific people after like years of no contact, third-party marriages. So, and that reminds me, someone also asked, is it possible for the manifestation to fail if there's something better meant for you? So here's the thing. If you assume that your specific person is not good for you, that they're not going to change, that this is how they are, that these things are really difficult, guess what that's going to manifest as? Not being with your specific person. And that might manifest as you meeting someone who treats you the way that you wanted your specific person to treat you. Why? It's not because the new person is meant for you. It's because you don't have a negative story attached to that new person. But if you have not reprogrammed and changed your assumptions about your specific person, then they're not going to show up the way that you desire. Because if you strongly assume, the word I see a lot is stubborn. People are saying, oh, my SP is so stubborn. So stubborn. They've always been like this. You keep affirming that old story and you're placing your focus on it. And because that's in your awareness, guess what? That continues to pop up in your reality. So it's up to you to start assuming differently about your person. And to persist in that, even if you get some hot and cold, that's okay. That means that you're just reprogramming your mind to assume that new version of them. So I hope that helps. So the law of attraction, it's the way it's presented is I need to be on the same vibration as something to attract it, as if it's something outside of me, right? So I need rose quartz or whatever crystal to raise my vibration, and then I will receive something related to that, but not too specific, because a popular phrase in the law of attraction is this or something better. But with law of assumption, no, there's no backup plan. You're going to get what you dominantly assume. So it's up to you to say that I'm going to have faith in me, in my power, and knowing that I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind. And if I created that situation, if I assume negative things about my SP without any evidence, just because of whatever past situations I have, then I'm going to try making more positive assumptions, because I know that that has to reflect in my reality, because nothing's set in stone. You made a good point that your SP is your person if you believe that they are your person. And I've seen this too with people with their SP. They had an assumption that, oh, we would always end up together. And they held that assumption, and for some people it took a shorter amount of time, for some people longer amount of time. It just depends on, what story you have attached to it. Why do you think it's taking time? And just getting to that state where you assume that I have this relationship with this person regardless of what happens out there. Saying that I know the connection between me and my specific person is real. It's a forever connection, and that we will always choose each other. Okay, so going back to staying in the end, it's not tricking yourself. It's not like walking around with a ring, right? It depends. If you're wearing the ring, for example, and whenever you look at it, you're like, I really miss my specific person. I wish they were here. Now I'm sad. Well, don't do that. But instead, if it helps you to say, like, I am my specific person's wife, I know that they love me, and I know that the ring that they're getting for me, it's even bigger, right? What puts you in the state of assuming that you have what you want? That's how you manifest. So to embody the feeling that you already have it, it's not going to feel like super excited all the time. for example, right now I'm doing my live, right? I can assume that my specific person's working in the living room. I don't know, they're reading or something. I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, my specific person's reading in the living room. No, I'm just like, okay, they're in the living room. Like, they're there. I assume that they're there. I expect that. I assume that because we're together. So it's a very natural, neutral thing. For example, if right now you don't have your specific person, and let's say you have the assumption that people ghost you, that people cheat, if that's an assumption that you have, if that's currently manifesting in your reality, ask yourself, what do I feel when I think about that? For a lot of people, it's anxiety, it's sadness. That is technically the feeling of the wish fulfilled for that specific assumption. The feeling that that is true. Right, that feeling of being ghosted, it feels very anxious, very stressful. If that's true for you, that's an assumption. It feels natural, and usually that carries over when you're with your specific person. You're worrying about, oh, what if they leave again? What if they ghost again? So it's not that you're looking for a specific positive feeling. It's the feeling of, this is true for me. And that feeling can be happiness. It could be neutrality. So, should I work more on self-concept or SP? So, the assumptions that you make about your specific person, I want you to think of your self-concept as the base. Oh, okay, yeah. So think of a cupcake, right? You have the cake part, and then you have the frosting on the top. The key ingredients in the cake, that is your self-concept. So for example, if you work on your self-concept, you have assumptions that anyone I desire desires me 10 times more. I always get the love and commitment that I want. My relationships always work out. I am impossible to resist. I'm always loved and respected in my relationships. I am loved for who I am. I am always desired by my person. My person is, or like when I'm in a relationship, my partner is always loyal to me. It's easy for me to trust in relationships because I'm always treated the way that I desire. If that's your self-concept and you meet your specific person, you can easily assume that they are committed to you, that they want to be with you, that they're attracted to you, because you already have those assumptions. So usually what happens is we don't have any of those assumptions at all. We just have whatever we've got. We meet that person, and then we end up reliving our fears that might even come straight from that specific person's mouth. So for example, if someone has a fear of not being pretty enough for their specific person, if they feel like, oh, I'm not like the pretty one in relationships, like I'm the ugly one. And I've seen people say that. That can manifest as a third party, right? You date the specific person, and then they're like, you know what, I kind of found someone else that I like them better, so peace out. That's because of a self-concept issue of not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, chosen. Okay, so with circumstances, okay, yeah, sometimes it's hard to ignore circumstances such as third party. Okay, so right now you're dominantly in the state of, I don't have what I want. I'm trying to get the relationship. but because of X, Y, and Z, it's not happening. And if you're focused on time, that's all in the state of I don't have it, I'm struggling, I need to get it, I need to try, I need to do something. If I don't do something, it's not going to happen. And it's kind of like an anxious cycle, right? Where you're like, there's just so many things. Like, where do you even start? That could be overwhelming. Okay. So when you're feeling really anxious and you cannot take your mind off of those circumstances, depending on how emotional you are, you know, if you're crying, if you're spiraling, if you feel like no matter what you're doing, you cannot stop thinking. If you get to that level, I would say that's like a code red. Take a time out, learn how to relax your nervous system, because if you're very emotionally charged and anxious, you're gonna have spiraling thoughts, racing thoughts based on your old self-concept, and that's not going to help anyone. And it's also not going to help if you force yourself to flip every negative thought if you're having a meltdown. So prioritize yourself, right? Because think about it, the version of you who has the relationship that you desire, when you think about your person, you're not like, I'm in a relationship with this person, I'm in a relationship with this person. No, you think, oh, I'm really grateful that I'm in this relationship with this person, and, you know, maybe I'm in a bad mood today, but, you know, I know that they are committed to me, I know that we have a connection, I know that this person supports me, and they accept me wherever I'm at. And that's not going to happen if your nervous system is panicking. So you can do breathing techniques. You can do that throughout the day. You could lie down. You could take a nap. Just first, prioritize you. This person's not going anywhere. You're not going to lose time. Because if you prioritize you, that's assuming that everything is working out and that it's okay for you to take time to yourself, because your manifestation is already yours. Everything is working out. So you don't need to worry about it every single second. It's okay for you to think about other things. It's actually a very healthy thing to do. So yeah, so depending how anxious you're feeling, just prioritize that. Listen to your body. Listen to how you're feeling. Take care of that first. That will be step one. Step two, once you're feeling calm, once you feel like you're back into the state of being the conscious creator where you are deciding your thoughts, you're not just like letting them run wild, right? Because you're not your thoughts, you're the consciousness behind the thoughts. So you're the driver in the car, and you're gonna decide, what direction do I want to take? Do I want to take anxious street, or do I want to take I'm the creator of my reality highway? So we're gonna take the I'm the creator of my reality highway, and as we're driving along, thinking about our manifestation, we're gonna practice imagining what it would be like for you to have your desire right now. You don't have to believe that it's happening right now, but as long as you persist in that state of imagining it's true for you by thinking things that you are in a relationship with this person, you are living together with them, that your person loves everything about you, that you have a connection, right? That's kind of the opposite about what you were saying is the current circumstance. And this is important because your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's real versus what's imagined. For example, when you're watching a scary movie and you're focused on that, you could feel like your heart race. You might jump, right, when there's a jump scare, because your subconscious mind does not know that you're not in any real danger. It thinks that, oh, this is what's happening for us right now. So you get to tell it what you want to manifest. You get to decide what are you going to assume, because whatever has manifested out there, that's reflecting the old self-concept. So your job is to take your focus off that and to say that, I'm manifesting based on who I assume I am, what I assume to be true for me, what I assume that I have. And you don't need to believe it. You need to practice thinking like it is true for you. And that is when your manifesting techniques come in. So the version of you who is in the committed relationship, your person could be out on vacation, right? Maybe their phone is off. You could still have that assumption that you are in that relationship with them. And that doesn't look very different from where you are at right now, right? Where you don't have that communication, where they're far away. What's the difference between those two people? One version assumes that they have the relationship, the other does not. So even when you go throughout your day, your job is to state your affirmations as facts, to think as if it's true. You can even do inner conversations describing the relationship that you want to manifest. And no, it's not going to show up tomorrow. You could get movement tomorrow. That is totally possible. But if you're dominantly focused on circumstances, that's being in the state of I don't have it, and that will continue to manifest more obstacles. So I know it's difficult because what's going on out there feels very real, right? It feels very permanent, but it's not. So I hope that helps. So someone asks, what's more important, affirming or visualizing? So it's not that one technique is more powerful than the other. Some people only affirm, some people mostly visualize. What we are doing here is manifesting based off who we assume to be, what we assume to have, what we assume is true for us in our reality. So you can pick whichever manifesting technique helps you to most easily, most naturally assume what it is you want to experience. So some people like affirming because it's very natural for them to assume that, okay, these statements, I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind, I'm focusing on this is true for me now, and I know that anything happening out there is bringing me my manifestation, because it's not your job to worry about how or when that manifestation is going to happen, because you are saying, this is who I am, this is what I experience, so that has to be true for me, that has to reflect. So some people visualize a scene, they imagine that they are together with their specific person in a way that implies they have what they want. So for example, marriage, some people will imagine celebrating their wedding anniversary with their person, because the version of you who has that inner experience of feeling married to your specific person that means you have manifested the marriage. So you can do either or, whichever feels more natural to you, but you can also practice visualizing if that does not come naturally to you. You can do that too. So again, how to manifest anything is to assume that you are experiencing what you want, that is true for you in your current reality, being in the state of I want it, I got it. Very powerful. So if you want to manifest something to happen tomorrow, just assume that it is happening. That you already have it. That you already got that experience. Yes, you absolutely can. And that could look like, oh, like I know this to be true. I know that this is a fact. I trust that this is happening for me. And think like the version of you who already got what you're trying to get right now. For example, if you want to get tickets, if you want to get a car, a house, you're assuming the state of being the ticket holder, of being the car owner, the home owner, right? So you think like, oh yeah, I have this. And you can affirm things that describe the experience, like, oh, like I got tickets to that concert so easily. I remember when I got tickets to that concert. I always get tickets to concerts. You can affirm that like I am so excited for this party with my friends because I got the concert tickets. So again, being the person who has it. So not trying to get something outside of you, but to think as if you are experiencing that already. Yeah, so again, living in your imagination and ignoring the 3D. So by ignoring the 3D, you can't like close your eyes and just like completely ignore it, but it's more of an acceptance and not reacting to what's going on there and placing a positive assumption towards whatever is going on. So for example, let's say you're in no contact with your specific person. Ask yourself, okay, why am I assuming this is no contact? Because things happen, right? People lose their phones. I literally dropped my phone in a fish tank before, and it took me a while to get a new phone because it was late. So think about the person on the other end. People trying to reach me, they could have thought that I ghosted them, I blocked them. No, I literally dropped my phone in a fish tank. Like, things like that happen. So instead, what that person should have assumed is that, like, oh, I know that I am important to this person. I know that this person wants to talk to me. I know that they are reaching out to me because they always do. They want to talk to me. They love talking to me. That's living in the end of being the version of you who expects that experience to happen, where that's something normal for you to experience. So to a logical person, right, living in your imagination, they're going to be like, no, that person doesn't want to talk to you because you had a fight. But you're going to say, no, that happened in the past. I'm not bringing that into my awareness before anymore, because I'm going to tell my subconscious mind that we are in a healthy connection, that this person wants to be with me, they want to talk to me, that they will always want to work things out with me because I know that I'm important to this person. Because, and then tie that to your self-concept, because I am important in general, I'm always prioritized, I'm always treated well in my relationships. So that would be the part of technically being delusional. Right? Because that's not happening out there. Not yet, that is. Because whatever's happening out there is just, it's old news. It's the past. And think about it. Whatever happened does not exist until you bring that back into your awareness and you continue to manifest that in your reality. So you can say, yeah, another example, living in your imagination and ignoring the 3D is when there is a third party. This, especially when the specific person posts pictures with the third party, I know that triggers people like no other. So how do you ignore that? You're like, well, clearly they're happy with that person, with that third party. Why are you assuming that? They could be fighting. It happens all the time that couples who are very unhappy together, they're like posting pictures that, oh, we're so in love, we're so happy. And then behind the scenes, they're arguing, they're fighting. They might even be in separate rooms. So, in that case, ignoring the 3D would be like, you know what? I'm not even going to keep tabs on this person because I know that my specific person feels no connection with that other person. I'm the only person they want to be in a relationship with because I always get the relationship that I want. I'm always chosen. I'm the first, best, and only option. So whatever's going on in there, that's funny because it only makes them realize how much they love me. That would be living in your imagination. You persist in that, and then what happens? The specific person like drops a third party, and then they come back saying like, oh hey, how are you? You're like, I'm good. I know I'm your favorite. So okay, so let's see. The comments just scrolled like all the way to the end. So give me a second to look through. Okay. So someone was asking, okay, how do you disregard time? So time isn't real because you can assume the state of being in the relationship that you want. You can imagine that reality through a visualization, through a meditation, through an affirmation. And your subconscious mind will accept that as true for you if you're vividly placing your focus on your affirmation, your visualization, right? You're feeling it to be real. You have the relationship in that moment in time. And when you dwell in that state, when you continue to do that, every time you do, anything out in the 3D that needs to happen, for example, your specific person getting on a plane, well, first thinking about you, booking a ticket, driving to the airport, thinking about calling you, that's going to happen. So there's no need to worry about time because as long as you're thinking from the end that you have what you want, everything out there is unfolding to bring it to you. So, for example, if someone is affirming that my specific person thinks loving thoughts about me every day, they want to be with me, I am the only person that this person has love for, that the specific person is going to be thinking about you. They're going to be thinking about talking to you. But if let's say you do that for 5 minutes, you're in that state of, being confident that this person wants to be with you. And then later on in the day, you're like checking your phone. You're like, well, it's been 2 months since they last talked to me. Do they even want me? Like, oh, they said that thing that was kind of rude. Then what's going to happen is your specific person's going to think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't talk to them. And that's when you continue to manifest delays, because you're switching states from I have it to I don't have it. It's not here yet. And so when your manifestation is near, I feel like that's not even the correct term to use, because it's not something outside of you. It's a matter of thinking that you are the person in the relationship, you are the chosen one, you are the loved one, that you have the dates, you have the commitment, you have that security. And think about it. That person is just the vessel that's providing that experience for you. So you're imagining the experience that you want with that specific person. So I hope that helps. I already answered what's more important, visualizing or affirming. It's not the specific technique. It's what gets you to live in the wish fulfilled. Detachment. So detachment, it's when some people are manifesting their specific person at the very beginning, they could feel very anxious, very scared that that person's gonna go off and, I don't know, marry someone else, right? Or that it's going to take 10 million years. And then what ends up happening, if you dominantly think from the end, you're thinking that I know this person loves me, I know that we're together, I know that everything is fixing itself in the 3D, everything is done, I am an excellent manifester, I manifest very easily, manifesting love, that's so easy for me. I always get the love that I want. Some people no longer feel the need to affirm. Why? Because they've repeated those thoughts so many times that it's starting to become an assumption. Because when you're with the person, you might think about them 100 times a day, but you're not going to think about them every single second. You're going to think about what you want for lunch. You're going to think about that funny TikTok that you saw. Right? You're not thinking about them every single second. So the reason why, if you've detached from something, it comes faster, is because if you have it, you do not feel the need to get it. You don't feel the need to do something about it, because it's either you are this thing, you have this thing, or this is just something that is present in your reality. Yeah, so someone said that they like visualizing and affirming and scripting. So if that makes you feel that what you want is happening for you right now. So for example, scripting, if you're like, you can script for example, oh, I had such an amazing day with my specific person today. They took me on a date. They told me that they love me, that they're so grateful to be with me. If you think about that, you kind of imagine it, that feels really good. That's impressing your subconscious mind to assume that this is an experience for you, that this is something that happens for you on a normal basis. So it's going to continue to manifest that as the relationship. But if you're just like writing it, but then you're still on the side, you're like, okay, well, whatever, like I wish that were true, then that's not going to be helpful. So it's being delusional, living in your imagination, thinking that that is something true for you. For example, if you know that you're going on a trip and you're very excited about that, for example, let's say you're going to the beach tomorrow. Then today you're going to be thinking like, oh, I'm so excited for the beach. Like, I know, like, I assume that I get to relax and enjoy the beach. Even though technically right now there's no evidence that you're going to the beach. You just know, you assume you're going to the beach, that you've manifested having a day at the beach, that is something true for you, even though it's not technically happening until tomorrow. Today you're in the state of like, oh, I'm going to the beach, so I need to get ready today and I feel really good about it. So that's technically living in your imagination, right? Throughout your day you hold that assumption, even though you don't have the physical evidence right in front of you. You just know that that's an experience that's happening for you. So I hope that helps. Okay, so that's a really good question. So when do you keep persisting versus letting it go? If you're questioning it, I would keep persisting, because it should be a very natural thing. So for example, you're about to affirm and you're like, you know what, like I am feeling pretty confident about it. I know that my affirmations are manifesting, so I'm going to watch a movie instead of affirming, because I don't feel the need to do this, because I assume that this is already happening for me. That would be letting it go. So if you no longer feel the need to, and when you go about your day you think about your manifestation and you think, okay, it's done, I know it's happening, I know that this is showing up for me in my reality, you could do that. Or you could keep going. You don't have to stop. Because as long as you're thinking from having it and not trying to get it, and that's how it will manifest. So again, if things are on and off with SP, what you just said right now, very on and off with SP, I want that to be the last time that you ever say that statement, okay? That's old news. You no longer need to place your focus or awareness on that in your reality. To manifest the commitment is to assume that you have it. So instead of affirming, I'm trying to get commitment, SP is committed to me, SP is committed to me, you think as the girlfriend or the wife, where that is a natural assumption for you. So you affirm things like, I feel so good in this relationship. I feel so wanted by this person. I know that I am the only person that SP has eyes for. So, if you're trying to get something, in this case it's commitment, I want you to create either affirmations or a visualization that describes you having that commitment. So, again, my SP is always loyal and faithful to me and only me. I'm always chosen. Anyone I'm attracted to is attracted to me 10 times more. That version of you assumes you have the commitment. So right now you're saying that they don't see you that way. It's FWB. You no longer need to assume that. Because right now you're in the state of not having the commitment. And instead you're going to think, my person is all over me because I am the only person they want to be in a relationship with. My person spends time with me. They love connecting with